Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Michelle and Tim. I'm going to be doing a collab with my favorite YouTube homeschool mom, Kara, also known as the Mama Librarian. If you watched my channel for any amount of time, you probably heard me mention her before. I do really love her channel. So we decided to get together and do a collab for you. I will link down below her video if you would like to see on the topic. So what we're discussing today is 5 things we're bad at homeschool and 5 things our kids think we're bad at. And I thought that would just be fun to kind of get the kids' perspective of it. So these are the 5 things I think I'm bad at when it comes to homeschool. So the first one is, it's funny because when I go through my list, you're going to find a lot of things I'm bad at. The Mama Librarian actually does really well. So I do think it's important to watch channels and get different ideas from people, because although it might not be your strength, you can definitely learn from them. So my first thing I'm bad at homeschool is cross-curricular. And this is something I've noticed recently. So we are currently on our 4th year of homeschooling. My oldest did K through 2nd grade through the pub school. She came home in 3rd grade. I have 3 kiddos, one age 11, one age 8, one age 5. And something I've noticed, especially with my oldest, is I compartmentalize subjects. So we have history, we have math, we have science, we have writing. But those don't cross into each other, and that's starting to cause some issues. I've noticed, for example, we've done IEW writing with my oldest for quite a few years now, and she's really good when she sits down and does her writing. But when it comes to answering questions in lightning literature or responding to questions where she has to write in science or history, she gives me very short, not well-structured sentences. And it's occurred to me that's because I haven't crossed over my subjects very well. And I think this is something the Mama Librarian is very good at, is bringing in different subject areas into one main theme. So something I need to be mindful of going forward is not just this is this subject, this is this subject, but having them kind of cross over, that using different skill areas throughout multiple subjects, or having multiple subjects go into a central theme would be beneficial. But again, I'm one of those compartmentalized type people that it's something I've noticed is becoming an issue as my oldest gets older, that she's only using that skill set that she's learned in that specific subject, while it can be used in multiple subjects. So the second thing I'm not very good at is field trips. Starting out, when we first started homeschooling, I planned the field trips in. We went a couple times a year. And I'm just not a field trip person, honestly. I enjoy being home. I enjoy having our routine, our schedule. And we don't live near anything, really. The nearest city, and I'm not talking like a large city, I'm talking like, has a Costco and a Target, is an hour away. So to plan something means we would have to drive multiple hours, which I'm going to be completely honest, I really don't like driving really long time in the vehicle with my 3 kids. It's really stressful and they're not the best behaved. So the thought of traveling multiple hours with my 3 kids isn't really something I want to do. And my husband works so much that it's not often he would be able to, go with us to kind of help corral everybody. But field trips is not something I'm very good at planning or figuring out. Next one would be unit studies. Again, this is something the Mama Librarian does amazing with, and I'm really impressed with her ability to do this. Being able to create a unit around a central theme or topic and bring in multiple resources that you've yourself kind of selected and gone through, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, and it's a lot of prep. And I'm really impressed that she can do all those things. And I'm a little jealous that I don't have more of the motivation to do it, because by the end of the day, I'm just like, nope, this is enough. But I have done it a couple times, during December, we do different studies, Christmas themes, sometimes just holiday themes, sometimes winter solstice, that kind of thing, where I've pulled in multiple resources, but I can't imagine doing that all the time. And especially during November, we do some type of Native American History Month. We pull in different resources for that, but it takes a lot of time and intentionality. And I'm really impressed with the resources she picks, the amount of effort she puts towards it. So that is something I would like to improve upon, something that I can see is a weaker area that I have that I can improve upon. And I do have, it's funny, I have a bunch of little saved videos for future subject areas, topics I want to cover with my kids that she's already kind of figured out the resources for. Because again, I think YouTube can be a great source of inspiration, not necessarily, the fear of missing out or I'm not doing enough, but I could improve by watching this person. So the next one would be games. I am not a game person. I'm not into board games, I'm not into video games. I never really have been. And there are a lot of educational games out there, and I know my kids would really enjoy doing them, especially the different math games. My 8-year-old in particular loves to play games. But again, I tend to compartmentalize. I am more of a, this is what we need to do, let's get it done and be done with school for the day instead of making it, our entire life. I don't want to be homeschooling the entire day. We have enough on our plate. I'd rather just get done the things we need to get done and not add all the fluff that is often seen in homeschool. But I have come to realize that, a little fluff might help, maybe in the form of games. And the last one would be thinking outside the box. Like I said, I'm very regimented and very consistent, which is a positive thing in homeschooling. But I don't often think outside the box. I'm just a logical type of thinker. So when I approach a topic or a subject, I'm like, okay, this is what we're going to learn about, this is the resource we're going to use, and so on and so on. I don't go and think about, okay, what games can I add to that? What hands-on activities can I add to that? I don't think about the fluff at all at this point. And again, I think I could benefit from having some more hands-on things included in our subjects. For example, when we did Torchlight, I think the first year we were homeschooling, or the second, we did innovations in inquiry, and we did this entire notebook of different inventions and creating things like board games, and we had to create an experiment that did like a domino effect type thing. The kids absolutely loved it, but I didn't do it unless I was prompted to, because it doesn't actually occur to me to do those extra hands-on activities, because that's not really how I learn, but that doesn't mean that's not how my kids would benefit from it. So unless the curriculum's prompting me to or giving me options, I don't think about it. I don't think about, okay, how can I make this more fun? Because I don't think homeschooling has to be fun. I do think there's a balance. I think there's people making it entertainment, and I think there's people doing absolutely nothing. There's a balance of academic rigor, but also making it appealing to the child. So finding that balance can be hard, because I am much more academically rigor than I am hands-on fun stuff. But again, looking forward, I think I need to think about some of that stuff, that hands-on things we could bring into the subjects. And sometimes that's included in the curriculum. And if it's included in the curriculum, I do it, but I don't often think, okay, what other activities can I bring in? I'll think about, okay, what books can I bring in? What discussion can we have? But I think they want to get their hands on some of the stuff. And that doesn't mean changing the curriculum or doing anything like that. It simply just means adding a little bit more fun element to bring it in. For example, when we did Curiosity Chronicles, there was always an activity, and a lot of times there was a game that we could do, and they really liked that. They liked learning and then being able to use it in some way. So that's something I've noticed I've gotten worse at as time has gone over. So these are the 5 things my kids think I'm bad at when it comes to homeschooling. So I asked them, pretty much my almost 12-year-old and my 8-year-old, because I don't think my 5-year-old has much opinion on it. I asked them, what's 5 things you think I could do better in homeschool, or you don't think I do very well? And they're completely blunt. They have no problem telling me what they think I'm bad at, which is great. I love open communication. This is not something that they're worried about hurting my feelings for. So the first one came from my oldest, and that is math. She thinks I'm bad at math, and she's not entirely wrong. Math has always been a struggle for me. But I will say this, I am very proud of myself for having the initiative to actually relearn math. I had not a great foundation, looking back now and reteaching my daughter math. And I also had some math trauma. Along the way of my math journey, I was given the impression that I wasn't good at it. So I just accepted that and kind of let it be my math identity, but it's not. There's no good or bad in math. Everybody can achieve the same level if you're willing to put the time and effort into it. And that's something I've actually done, I think, really well. is my daughter has seen me put the time and effort into learning this math, and it is a struggle for me, absolutely, at some times, but I'm not giving up. I'm continuing to persevere through it, and I do think that's a good example to set for her, especially since she's one that tends to naturally struggle with math or have some of that self-doubt that I also had as a child, to kind of see working through that. But yeah, I absolutely struggle with math. Next would be when I get frustrated, especially in homeschooling, my voice raises. I talked about this in my most recent homeschool confessions, which I'll link above if you want to see. Naturally, that happens with my voice. I don't know if it's being a third child and being, in order for people to hear me, I always had to raise my voice. But it's not always directed at my kids. Sometimes I'm frustrated about something not working with me or that isn't going well. It's not necessarily them missing a concept. It's not directed towards them, I guess is what I'm saying. But my voice will naturally get higher, and you can kind of see that in my videos too, where when I get worked up about something, I come off kind of aggressive. And that's not the intention. That's just kind of how my personality is. So being mindful of that, and I talked about in that video about, especially with my 8-year-old, I have to be mindful of that because she's very sensitive to tone. And again, it had nothing to do with her, but she can sense that tone change in myself, and that causes her to shut down and think it's about her, but it's really not. So I do. They say I get frustrated easily in homeschool. So maintaining my emotions is something I'm bad at. Next one would be lunches. And I said, how does this count for homeschool? But they said lunchtime is part of homeschooling. So for quite a while, I made really fun lunches, and you can see them on some of my videos if you look past. I liked making themed lunches for around holidays, so Valentine's Day, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and somewhere along the way, I just kind of lost the initiative for it. And it just, as time goes on, I get tired. I do get up early and make their lunches still, and their lunches are prepared well before lunchtime, but I'm not putting the cute little lunchbox jokes in there. I'm not cutting their sandwiches into shapes anymore, and part of that is because we eat gluten-free and slicing, and I make my own gluten-free bread because it's cheaper, but slicing the bread and not using pieces kind of breaks my heart because it's so expensive even to home make it that I feel like I'm wasting a piece of the bread, so that's kind of hard. And then there's also part that we don't live in an area with a lot of gluten-free food options, like snack options. I know there's YouTube channels out there that have, lunchbox videos and things like that. A lot of the stuff they show isn't gluten-friendly, so I can't really include all those cute little snacks that you get at, Trader Joe's or Target that are all themed. I can't use any of those because they don't make them gluten-free. So I kind of lost some steam on that. But again, I can bring back fun lunches, and it doesn't have to be there's a fun lunch every day. It can be just throwing in a joke or using the cute little food pics we have, or if it's a holiday like Easter's coming up will be our next holiday, including something cute in there like little bunny food pics and just cute stuff like that. So getting back to that. And the next one would be art. We do art once a week, and we always have a project with it. And my kids really enjoy that, but they would like to do more art. And this kind of surprised me because we've been doing art consistently once a week this entire school year, but apparently that's not enough for them. They want more. And they don't, so they think I'm bad at providing more art or craft opportunities. And again, I'm a person that enjoys crafting. I am a person that is starting to enjoy art myself, but it's not one of those things where I think about adding it in multiple times a year because I've done that compartmentalization that, okay, this is art, this is what we're doing, we did it, we're done, and we move on, not thinking, oh, maybe they want more. So upping our art game, they would like me to see. Next would be, so my two kids disagree on this. My 8-year-old would like to see Read Aloud come back. Again, we did this early on in our homeschooling journey. Over the years, we've kind of dwindled it away. And I'm just not a big fan of Read Aloud. And we've used it in the past. It's worked well for my kids, but there is a pretty significant gap. There's 3.5 years between my oldest and my youngest. So their interest level in books couldn't be any more different. And there are books we could do together, but again, I'd like to spend the time we have useful. And I know there's a lot of research about the benefits of reading to your kids. I understand that. I don't enjoy reading aloud. I read aloud a lot of our curriculum we're currently doing. I've done it in the past when it's part of our curriculum. For example, when we did Torchlight, when we did Oh Freedom History last year, we did all those read alouds together. And my 8-year-old really likes that. My oldest does not. She, I think, much like me, is a very quick reader. So to listen to audiobooks or listen to someone else read it is kind of hard because your brain is going much faster than that. So my 8-year-old would like to see read alouds come back, and she's said my 8-year-old would like to see read alouds come back. My oldest would like to see a book club happen instead. So this is something she's wanted for a while, and I can't find a way to do it locally for us. There's not a lot of homeschoolers in my area, especially in 6th grade or 12 years old. And in our house, there's a big age gap. Like I said, my oldest is about to be 12. My middle child is 8, my youngest is 5. So my oldest reading level is quite different than my 8-year-old who struggled for years to read. She's there and reading, but she's not prepared to read at the same level book that my oldest is, and especially even with themes. What my oldest is into, the maturity of the characters, what they're experiencing, relationships, different things like that is going to be so much different than an 8-year-old can interpret. So having it within our house is really difficult. And, we could do it together, but then is it really a book club if it's just 2 people? So I'm kind of figuring out how to navigate that. And, her friends are 2-3 years younger than her too. So it's not like we can have a friend group do it because they're, again, not in that same age range of things she's necessarily interested in. So figuring out something about reading, because both my kids want some type of aspect of that I'm not very good at providing. So looking forward, figuring out ways that I can incorporate reading as a group subject somehow is something they would like to see that I'm apparently not doing a very good job at. But those are the 5 things I think I am bad at, 5 things my kids think I'm bad at in homeschooling. If you would like to share something you think or your kids think you're bad at in homeschooling, I'd love to hear it down below. Make sure you check out the Mama Librarian, see what she has to say. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, thank you for watching.